All right, so I'm just waiting for the YouTube page to start streaming live so I can copy the URL to paste in the class WhatsApp group. All right, and it so let's see, copy link. Okay. Okay, we're ready to go. So it seems I will be rocking it alone today. No problem. I will be going through the answers and you can always go to the YouTube link in the WhatsApp group and watch. All right, so the first paper we'll be looking at, as we did then, is May, June 2019, starting at question number 30. And I'm going to put that on the screen for those of you who do not have your papers with you. So just allow me to share my screen for a minute. And we're looking at paper 1 for 2019. Okay. And we're going down to question number 30. Good. So looking at question number 30, it says, in CARICOM regions, and this is where we are. We're right here. Sorry, let me get my spotlight. Right, this is where we are, right? So question number 30. In CARICOM countries, citizens have the right to vote. This is called, and the answer would be universal adult suffrage. D would be the answer for this question. So in this case, the answer would be D. Moving on. We also have 31. A country's population and universal adult suffrage is the right that anyone over the age of 18 has to vote. And so that is why that is the answer. Enumeration is a process whereby they go around to select, or not to select, but to enlist persons, citizens, to become a part of the electorate. And the electorate is a set of citizens who have registered to vote. So enumeration is where they're registering you to vote. So universal adult suffrage would definitely be the correct answer there. 31, a country's population will increase when the birth rate is higher than the death rate. The death rate is higher than the birth rate. Immigration rate is higher than the birth rate, or immigration rate is higher than the immigration rate. The answer here would be A. So we're talking about increase. And if you're going to increase, then you would want more births than deaths, right? And A is simply saying you have more children, more persons being born than you have persons dying. So where the B says you have more persons dying than being born, that could not bring about an increase, that would bring about a decrease. Immigration is where you leave from the country. So if the immigration rate is higher than the birth rate, so you would still have more people leaving than are being born. Good. So, and immigration, again, more people leaving than those coming in, which is immigration. So none of those could have been the correct answer. So by default, the answer is A. 32, which of the following factors contribute directly to a fall in infant mortality rate? And the answer is A. A being immunization and improved nutrition. Why? When children are being immunized, that should protect them from certain illnesses, which would also protect them from death. Not really in a certain sense, decrease the amount of children dying who did not necessarily have to die. And if you improve the nutrition or the diet of a population, of course, it lengthens their years of life. You could have a income with a high, a household, with a high income, but that does not filter down to how the children are taken care of in terms of health and diet and in terms of how long they live. You have rich people dying quickly too if they don't have proper health care and if they don't have proper nutrition, exercise, etc. 33. Number 33 says, just checking something there. Right. Sorry about that. All right, sorry. Yes, number 33 says, which of the following best explains, let me move this across here so that you can see. Which of the following best explains why birth rates have been falling in some Caribbean countries? And the answer is B. Family planning is now encouraged in several countries. Family planning is where you plan your family. So you control how many children you have, how many members of your family there are. And if this is being encouraged in a lot of countries, as it says several, then more than likely the amount of children being born to the per household would have decreased, or per family would have decreased. 34, persons would be considered unemployed if they are D, between the ages of 16 and 25 years and actively looking for work. Because you hear the word, the key point, actively looking. They don't have any work. Good. If you're studying full-time at an institution of higher learning, working for less than 12 months a year, under the age of 65 and disabled, of course, disabled people can work. If you're working for less than 12 months a year, but you still work, you're studying full-time at an institution of higher learning, you could be working and studying. It does not eliminate that. But if you're between 16 and 25, and you're looking for work, then you're not necessarily employed. .35, the term labor force is best described as employed and unemployed, qualified, willing, and able to work. Because the labor force is that set of the population that is able to work, they are willing to work, and they are qualified to work, okay? I remember that the labor force is usually within a certain age range, like 18 to maybe 60 or something of that, or 65 in some cases. The concept of push and pull are associated with I would expect you to know that without a shadow of doubt. With migration, the migration of people. Remember, we're talking about population. We were talking about people moving from one place to the other and why they moved. That's push and pull. Push factors are those things that cause you to leave where you are, push you out. So, okay, unemployment is high or crime is high where you are living. And so because of that, you leave. So it pushes you out. On the other hand, pull factors. Now, the place where you're heading to, what do they have that is calling you, that is alluring you and pulling you to come? So Kingston might have entertainment and nightlife, and they might have tertiary institutions, they may have all those things, employment that you desire. And because they have those things, it is pulling you, it's calling you. So push and pull refers to migration. So the answer for that would be A. 37, which of the following factors would discourage immigration? And the E1 means leaving, the I1 is coming in. And for 37, the answer would be C, availability of well-paid jobs in the country of origin. So if you have good jobs in a your yardie country, right? Why would you want to leave? That would discourage you from actually leaving the country. Because most times when persons leave, it's for employment, increased standard of living, etc. So if that is good where you are, chances are it will discourage you from leaving. Moving on, 38. An example of intra-regional migration is the movement of people. Intra-regional, and I remember somebody asking me this on Wednesday. Intra means within, and the region refers to that area that surrounds you. And in our case in Jamaica, our region is a Caribbean region. So we're looking at an example of movement of people from within the region. Jamaica to the United States. United States is not the region. It is an international setting. All right, so United States to Montserrat, still international. Anguilla to United Kingdom, still international. You're crossing international borders. Trinidad, Tobago to St. Lucia, definitely the answer, because those are two Caribbean countries. So you're moving from within the Caribbean to somewhere else in the Caribbean. $39. Healthy individuals are beneficial to a country's development because they are more likely to be productive and effective workers. If you are sicky, or if you are whatever, you're not going to perform well. If you're healthy, you will be productive. So let's look at them. Healthy individuals are beneficial to a country's development because they are more likely to be less critical. It doesn't make sense. Satisfied and contented. Being satisfied and contented does not mean you're being productive, all right? And for a country to be developed, or a country's economy to develop, you need production, you need productive labor force. Self-sufficient and self-reliant. Being healthy does not necessarily mean you'll be self-sufficient and self-reliant, and neither does that automatically transfer to being beneficial to the country's development. So productive and effective workers would be the answer for 39, which is D. 40. Which of the following is most likely to result from rising levels of unemployment in a country? So question, if it is that employment rate going up, people can't find work, left, right, and center, no work in the country, what do you think is the most likely thing to happen? People going to have more children in A, increased immigration, people leaving the country more. C, more sporting activities, people are going to just get up and play games every day. Or D, increase in workers' salaries. Like, duh. Definitely couldn't be D. If there's no work, how are they going to increase salaries, right? And C, A, possibly could have happened. Everybody sit down at home not doing anything, so they're just having children. Yeah, but that's not the most likely thing. Most likely, people can't find work here, they're going to leave and go somewhere else. So immigration will take place. D. sorry, not D, 41. Which of the following is not, and look, not, pay attention to these words when they are capitalized or bold or italics, etc. Which of the following is not a reason for a government to develop the human resource potential of a country? And for that, the answer is D, supplementing the labor force of foreign countries. If you are supplementing or providing support to the working class or to the labor force of a foreign country, how would that develop your human resource? And human resource refers to your people, their abilities, their skills, talents, etc. And if you're supporting another labor force, that will not necessarily develop your labor force. So the answer for that would be D. 42. Which of the following actions may be taken by an employer against workers during an industrial dispute? And the answer here is C. The employers are the bosses, the ones who hire. And the workers now are those who have been hired. Now, the employers are not going to strike, right? Employers, they would be losing money. It wouldn't be beneficial to them. They are not going to strike against the workers. Usually the workers strike against employers. So it wouldn't be A. Employers not going to have a sick out, because a sick out is another way of striking. D, work to rule, where you just do exactly what you're supposed to do and you're not step. If they say move the pencil, even though you know they want the pencil to be moved to office D, you only move it to office A because they say move. So you're just working to rule, just that him say so that me do, even though you know by interpretation that that's not really what was required and that you would need to follow through and do other things, you don't do it. The employers would not do that. So C would be the answer, lockout, where they can decide to lock them gate, keep you out, right? All right, moving on. '43, the statistical data provided by a population census help the government of a country to, and the answer would be D. And the reason the answer would be D is that, of course, and we discussed this in class, the population census, it helps you to plan for the society. You know how many children are being born between you know what the population distribution is like in terms of age group, in terms of gender, education, religious background, health, all of those things. And based on that, you will know what are the needs of the population, and as such, you can plan to meet those needs. 44, which of the following conditions does not contribute to unemployment? And A would be the answer, increase in exports. If we are having more and more things to export, which means we are producing more, then naturally, if we are producing more, we would need more people to do the production. So we would be employing more people. So increase in exports would not lead to unemployment, which is what that question is asking. Most Caribbean countries remain producers of primary products, mainly because they, and the answer is C, lack the means to process their resources. So we have the raw material, we have the bauxite, but we don't have the processing plants to process the bauxite into aluminum. So we have to export it, and it is done somewhere else. And that is the case for a lot of Caribbean islands, and not just us in Jamaica. 46, many Caribbean countries have laws to restrict the harvesting of some marine animals. This is done mainly to ensure the sustainable use of resources. And sustainability refers to having things exist past your generation for the future generations, lasting for an extended period of time and not being exploited. So that would take care of that. And moving to 47. And it would have been really nice if I had someone to interact with me and talk back, but this is how it is. I hope you will be able to join me next time. The fact that we had no electricity all of yesterday would have affected, which was when we were originally going to have this class. Good. However, 47, which of the following activities has the potential to cause the most serious pollution of the beaches of the Caribbean? And from the responses, we have construction of hotels, oil spills from tankers, unsuitable fishing practices, occurrence of hurricanes and high tides. If we talk about oil spills from tankers, yes, that can cause pollution, but we're looking at the most serious pollution, unsuitable fishing practices. Yeah, occurrence of hurricanes. Yeah, but how often do we have the hurricanes, and do we all have them at the same time? The answer I would suggest for this would have been A, the construction of hotels, because they have to get rid of their waste some way, and in terms of the use of the beaches, etc., by persons that are coming in. I think this will be more long-term. So it wouldn't just happen a one-off thing, a tanker spilled some oil this month and it doesn't happen again for another 2 years, but the hotel would be here constantly and persons would be using its resources, and these resources would need to be disposed of. 48, which of the following resources will assist Caribbean countries to develop self-sufficient economies? And we would have C as the answer, which would take into consideration investing in local industries rather than in foreign ones, and also developing the local agricultural sector. Now, item 49 to 50 refers to the diagram which shows the population pyramid for country X. Which of the following features of country X may be gathered from the diagram above? And we say age B, age, sex distribution of the population, because of course, you can see here sex, which is the gender, and we have the age here, and we can see how they are distributed for the country. So between 80 plus, we have about 10, and for 80 plus males, we have about 50. So from this diagram, you can tell the age and the gender or the sex distribution. All right, so that would be the answer for that one, which would be B. The age range which makes up the largest group in the country would be B, and that would be age 30 to 49. Let's see. So 30 starts here and 49. So we're taking these these 4 blocks. And as you can see, these are the ones that extend the furthest. So these are the largest blocks, 20, about 18 here, and about 15, 14 here. And by far you can see that these extend the furthest across, which means those, and these are the numbers telling you percentage of the population. So by of course you could see that those categories, or that category rather, would have the largest population. 51, between 1958 and 1962, Caribbean governments made an attempt to unify the region politically through what? Yes, this came up the other day as well, and it would be A, definitely forming a federation. Remember, the federation was formed in 1958, and then it was dissolved in 1962 when some countries gained their, and sought and gained their independence. Looking at, oh, sorry, and I would have passed the number of questions. That question is a regional integration question, which we would have dealt with already. So I need to be moving on to another paper. And this paper would take in questions 31 to 49. All right, so we are now going to look at question number 31. 31. All right, so 31 is based on that chart there, and it refers to the following table, which shows the population figures of our countries, or 4 countries. All right, so my baby is trying to get my attention, so you'll see me looking away from time to time. All right, she's pretending to sleep right now. All right, so 31, which country has the highest population density? And we would look at, there's a formula for calculating the population density. Give me a second here so I can, let me see if I have that with me. Josh, please pass me that study guide, the social studies study guide. All right, the population density. To calculate the population density, you would apply, go to the right where your hand is. The other hand, the hand on the counter. All right, just give me a second here. I don't want to give you any wrong information. To calculate the population density, you would need to find the total population of an area by dividing the size of the area. So you would have, so if the population of 15,000 people live in an area of 500 square kilometers, the calculation would be, and let me get the whiteboard. Oh. All right, so the population, say for example, we have 15,000. Let me. Yeah, put that down. Let me do this. So we have a population density of 15. Oh boy. We have 15,000. And we would put that over the area, which would be 500 kilometers, square kilometers. All right, and that would equal the amount of persons per square kilometer, which would be 30. Boy, forgive me. 30 persons per square kilometer, okay? Right, hence, what I would advise you to do in this situation is to calculate the population density for each category, for each country, and then you would see which one is highest, which country has the most persons per square kilometer. So you would have put 70,000 over 750 and find out what the answer would be, and the same for all of them. Having done that, we would come up with the answer for B. I had something where all of that was worked out, but you can go ahead and do the calculations yourself, and the answer would end up being B. The term labor force is best defined as, and we have the answer as B again, qualified, willing, and able to work. So the labor force must be qualified, willing, and able to work. 33, the introduction of machines in agriculture results in the unemployment of farm workers. The type of unemployment these workers suffer is, and from you hear machines, then it has to be technological or technical, okay? And that goes without saying. 34, lack of sufficient resources to support the demands of a nation's population is known as, and the answer is B, overpopulation. You have too much people, you can't take care of them, you can't support them with the resources that you do have. 35, which of the following is not a result of population growth? And we have A as the answer, traffic congestion. This could be a ticklish one. Availability of land. Population growth won't affect the availability of land. It could affect the development of slums. It could affect the cause an increased demand on social services. It's possible. It could cause traffic congestion. Well, but population can increase, but it doesn't mean that transportation on the road has increased. But if your population is increased, you may have to find transportation for them in order for them to be mobile. So it's between A and B, and the one that it would least affect of the two, I would say I would have to change it and say B by reasoning. All right, let me make a note of this. And that will be question 34. All right. Oh, sorry. All right, so that is what is there. I had read it wrong. So B is the answer for 35, right? 35. Moving on to 36. Which of the following best explains why birth rates have been falling in some Caribbean countries? And we would have seen this question already. The answer is C. Family planning is now encouraged in several countries. And please note, the answers will not necessarily fall in the same place all the time, and the wording for the question can change. So please take note of that. 36, where are we now? 37, which of the following is most likely to result from rising levels of unemployment in a country? And we have the answer as B, increased immigration. And this is a question we would have seen already as well. The attractive social conditions offered by some countries have influenced the movement of people from the Caribbean. These conditions may best be described as, and I described this earlier in this video, these would be pull factors. These are things that are drawing you. So they are pull factors. 39, which of the following are problems usually associated with rapid urban growth in developing countries? And the answer is A. Urban refers to the town areas and the cities. So that would be unemployment, and 2, shortage of housing. So when you have too much persons in the cities, urbanization taking place, employment will increase and housing will, the amount of housing will decrease. 40, healthy individuals are beneficial. We've seen this before, are beneficial to a country's development because such individuals are more likely to be workers who are productive and effective. Because when you're talking about human resources and development or production, you're looking at productivity. of the people, which are the human resources. Which of the following is based on exploiting non-renewable natural resources? And we have C as the answer, bauxite mining. So bauxite is a non-renewable resource, and so that would be the answer. Fishing is renewable, lumbering, the resource is renewable, the trees, hydroelectric power, water, renewable. So bauxite would be the answer there. Which of the following are most likely to happen in a country where there is a high employment rate? And the answer for that would be A, where you have a greater demand for goods and services, as well as improvement in the quality of life. 43, which of the following would play an important part in a government's effort to increase consumption of locally produced food? And the answer would be C, increasing the price on imported food. So if you increase the price on the foods coming in, then persons will be forced somewhat to buy local goods because people want cheaper goods, they want more value for their money. 44, it is true to say that marine life in the Caribbean is, and the answer is A, a renewable resource. It is not unlimited, but it is renewable. It does replenish. It is replenishable. All right. And it's not useless as a tourist attraction. And it is a contributor, so that would be out as well. So the answer is a renewable resource. 45. Which of the following are ways by which people have caused soil erosion in the Caribbean? And the answer for that is C. They have caused it through mining and slash and burn. And somebody asked me, what is slash and burn? Especially in the country areas, you see them just cut. Slashing is like the cutting, chopping down with a cutlass or with a machete, and then you just light where you cut fire, and that's how you clear the land. You chop and burn, cut and burn. It's an age-old method, but it does cause soil erosion. All right. And the other method is mining, yes, because you're digging into the soil and you're moving in. Which of the following methods of fishing is most damaging to the ecosystem? A, using dynamite. Okay. 47, most Caribbean countries remain exporters of primary products mainly because they lack the means to process their resources. And this is D. We had referred to this in another question. Item 48 refers to the following table, which shows population figures for country X in 2016. And the question says the natural increase in population for country X in 2016 was, and the answer is A, which would be 15,000, because to find the natural increase, you would minus the number of deaths from the number of births. Okay. 49 refers to the graph you're looking at there. And the question asks, the graph above shows that in country Z, and the answer would be B, definitely. Female birth rate reaches highest level around the mid-1970s. Female birth rate is depicted by the broken line and the male birth rate by the continuous line. And you can see between 1970 to 1980, the midpoint would be 1975. And of course, you can see that it was the highest for the female population. If you want to go and reason out others, female birth rate increased steadily between 1960 and 1990. No, that's not the case, because here's a drop here. There's a drop in that section. Right, there's a drop here, so that could not be the case. For C, male birth rate was always lower. No, because here's a place where the birth rate was higher, and here's another place where the male birth rate was higher. the male birth rate was higher than the female birth rate between 1975 and 1980. No, that's not the case. The female was higher. So once again, you will see that B is the answer. All right. And let me see if that's where we stop. Yes, that's where we stop for this paper. And so we're going to move on to the other paper. Let me just retrieve it. And we will be going to question question 31. We're starting at 31 and we're going all the way up to 51. All right, so here we are. Let me just share the screen. All right, and it says people who come from other countries to live and work permanently in the Caribbean, they are classified as, and we would say, immigrants. You may be thrown off a bit by A, which is expatriates, but in terms of to live and work, you would say based on what the question is asking, it was a safer bet to go with B. B would be the answer. 32, which of the following pose the greatest risk to forest resources in the Caribbean? And we would say human activity. Wherever you go, it's really between us and nature, and it's what we do that affects nature the greatest, right? Because even if they're government policies are made by humans nonetheless. All right, so moving on. 33, in what ways is a country likely to benefit when citizens keep the environment clean? And we would say D, all three. We would have improved community health, positive remarks on visitors, and less polluted water courses, definitely. Frank is a qualified electrical engineer working as an administrative assistant. He is most likely to fall in the category of what? Is he unemployed? No, he's working as an administrative assistant. Is he underemployed? Yes, because he's a qualified electrical engineer, but he's working as an admin assistant, like a clerk or secretary or something. He's not seasonally employed. He's not employed every summer or every whatever term. And he's not voluntarily unemployed either, because it did state that he's working. So the answer would be B, underemployed. You're doing a job that you're overqualified, more than qualified to do. 35, which of the following is not a likely cause of a high infant mortality rate? And for this, we have the answer B, diverse ethnic origin. And that nothing to do with the mortality rate, how high babies are dying. That has not, your race has not, your ethnic origin has nothing to do with it. Your income could affect that. Your housing conditions can affect that. The unavailability of hospital services can affect that, but your race, nah. All right, so B would be the answer there. Which of the following terms describes the level of population that can be sustained by the resources of a country? 36, and that would be D, optimum population. 37, which of the following factors will not cause a change in the population size of a country? And we have a countrywide development. Because if you have countrywide development, then persons won't really move from one place to the other. Which of the following factors, I'm thinking something here, will not cause a change in the population of a country? Okay, yeah. If the young people migrate, of course, it's going to decrease the population. If a liberal If there's a liberal immigration policy, more than likely you'll have more persons coming in, and that would change the population. An increase in the mortality rate, more persons are dying, it's going to change the population. But if there's countrywide development, no. That wouldn't be a direct. That wouldn't cause it. The large-scale movement of people from one area to another in the same country is referred to as internal migration. And we have to use transfer of knowledge. Internal, within, migration, movement from one place to the other, all right? And it did say that within the same country, one area to another in the same country. Information about population change in a country may be found where? Would we find it at the Registrar's Office, Office of Naturalization, Department of Statistics, Records of Religious Institutions. Well, these are not specific names to agencies that we may have. However, by deduction, we could tell that anywhere that deals with statistics would have information about the country change. Registrar's Office, yes, they will have birth and deaths, but they might not necessarily have a summative report where they can tell you that and that for a period of this or that. Office of Naturalization would be focusing on citizens who became citizens through naturalization. Records of religious institutions, definitely not. So, of course, the statistics department will be dealing with statistics of all sorts, kinds and nature. Of course, they would be the one I would go to. Which of the following situation is likely to discourage migration? And we have A, availability of well-paid jobs in the country of origin. We saw this in another phrase, in another way. If you have good jobs and well-paying jobs, you're not gonna win. The teachers who leave, they leave because they want to get better pay for their services. The nurses who go on, they want to make a better life for themselves and their family, increase salary. But if we have that here, nobody now leave here. Jamaica too nice for that. All right. So once we get our employment issue, our crime issue sorted out, ain't going nowhere. So that would be that. 41. Item 41 is based on the following conversation. Pam, have all kind of qualifications and cannot find a job. I'm fed up. Time to leave. Time to try leave the country. Kim, girl, where you going? Out there ain't no better. Hold some strain, no? Pam, how you expect me to get a house, car, clothes, food? Make up my mind. All right, 41. Which of the following factors is most likely to contribute to Pam's desire to want to leave the country? And B, frustration. And I'm bored, she bored. She fed up, she said it. She's fed up, frustrated. Which of the following could account for a rapid population increase in a country? B, high immigration, high fertility. Immigration, enough people are coming. Fertility, enough births. So enough people moving into the country, coming into the country, a lot of babies being born, of course, that's going to automatically lead to increase. All right, take a good look at this diagram. 43 to 44 refers to it. And this is a profile for country X, Y, and Z. 43. All right, let me leave this here. All right. So question 43 says, in which of the following countries would the provision of many primary places, school places be a major priority? And by default, drum roll, that would be country Z. Why? What? In which of the following countries would the provision of many primary school places be a major priority? That could not be country Z, that's an error. That would have to be country X, and I did my drum roll and everything. Where did my pen go? Oh, here it is. All right, so that would definitely be X. Why would it be X? Because you would notice, let me get back my spotlighter here. Here is where you have the largest concentration of primary age children. You have primary would start about age 6 and they go up to about 12. So we were looking at these two blocks here, both male and female, and they are larger than the same category in the other two. So country X would have been the answer, not Z, sorry. (44) Which statement is true for the population of all three countries? The birth rates are high, not necessarily, not for all of them. The sex ratios are similar. Yes, I would say that is so. The population growth is slow, not in all of them. The population of elderly people is large, not at all. So the answer, of course, would be B. And when we talk about the growth of the population, we would look at the shape, and we talk about the gender. We look at males versus females, and in most cases, or in all three cases, you can see that the male population is very similar to the female population. You might have a little variation here and there, but for the most part, they're similar. (45) Which of the following would contribute most to equalizing the distribution of wealth in a country? And the answer I have is A, increased educational opportunities. So them say education is the way out of poverty, and so hence my answer. 46, the statistical data provided by a population census help the government of a country to plan its development programs, and we've spoken about that already. 47, for which of the following reasons do young adults in the Caribbean usually move from their villages to towns and cities? And we have A as the answer, referring to employment opportunities, training, and education and advancement. As a young person, why would you move from up in the hilltop here in country? You want work, you want education, all of that, right? So that's why we have some single parent homes and some sibling-headed households, etc., and extended families. Why? Because the parents have left to go and make a living elsewhere. Which of the following industries depends mainly on exploiting non-renewable natural resources? And again, this is C, we've seen it already. Which of the following are ways by which people have caused soil erosion in the Caribbean? And we have this already, and it would be mining and slash and burn, which would be C. So you see, students, as we go through these papers, we should not be making the same mistakes twice, thrice, or the fourth time, because we do see where questions are repeated. And once you understand the answering and the reasoning for that question and have the background knowledge for that question, then even if you get it wrong the first time you did it, you shouldn't get it wrong the second, third, and fourth time. 50 to 51 refers to this diagram on the screen. Which of the following is the most likely reason for the decrease in the population in the 25 to 49 age group? And we have B, migration. 25 to 49 age group, and that would be from here to 25 to 49. So from here, so go to there. What would be the cause for that decrease? Where you saw the pyramid closing in like that, what's the most likely cause for that? And if you would pay keen attention, you'd realize that this is smack in the middle of the labor force, you know, and you see they're showing the arrows, the productive sector. So, and for this decrease, so more than likely would be migration, whether due to education, employment, whatever, but more than likely these persons would have left. The following, the number of males too young to be included in the productive sector is approximately, and I have C, which is All right, so the productive sector starts here, and we're looking at the males. So the productive sector starts here. So the number of males too young, so therefore we're looking at this section, to be included would be 1 to 4, which is 500s, 5 to 9, which is 800s, and 10 to 14, which would be 700s. And you'd add all 3 or 4 of them. Did I mention this one here? Less than 1, okay. 2.5, thereabouts, and you'd add all of those, and then that would give you a total of 2250. All right, and so we're on to the final paper. So we are just about finished, and we're looking at May 2017, and we're starting at page 20. So let me just get this for you. Let's run through this quickly. All right, so we're looking at May 2017, and question number 30, which of the following action best demonstrates patriotism? And we're looking at working at full capacity, no, not necessarily. Beautifying their surroundings, yes, but not necessarily. Participating in national events, yes. Wearing colors of the ruling party, no. So the answer would be C. 31 to 32 refers to diagram here. And which of the population has the highest population density? And we looked at it already, and this is number 2. And I did give you the formula for working out the population density. Number 32, which country has the lowest population density? And you would do the calculations again, and the calculation should lead you to D. 33, the term labor force is best defined as all persons who are qualified to work and are currently employed. This, I think I gave you a different answer for this before, but we need to verify. So I'm going to ask you to just look up labor force, because there's a slight difference between labor force and workforce. Labor force is the number of people working, of working age within a population. So based on that, sorry, let me just look at that again. All right, so under the age of retirement from work, no. Qualified to work and are currently seeking employment, not necessarily. Employed and unemployed, qualified, willing, and able to work, that would be D. So, all right, that would be D. 34, look at the diagram. From the data given in the graph, it can be concluded that, and we looked at this already, and C would be the answer, and I explained how we got to C. 35, which of the following contribute directly to a fall in the infant mortality rate? We looked at this already too. And the answer for this would be improved nutrition, vaccination against diseases, and that would be 1 and 2, which would make the answer A. Development of high income housing, I have nothing to do with mortality rate. 36, a country's population increase is calculated by finding, and we got this in a different way before, the difference between birth rate and death rate, which would be C. 37, the concepts of push and pull factors are associated with migration of people. Good. 38, a migration refers to movement. An example of intra-regional migration, and we saw this question before, would be D, Trinidad and Tobago to St. Lucia, because it is within the region, which is the Caribbean. Which of the following, 39, which of the following factors would discourage emigration? And we have C as the answer, as was before. 40, healthy individuals are beneficial to a country's development because such individuals are more likely to be productive and effective workers, which is slated as D. Which of the following changes is least likely to lead to the development of the human resources of a country? And we have, which of the following changes is least likely to lead to the development of human resources? And we have increase in the cost of living. Okay, B. Because if you have improved health services, that would lead to development because the human resource will be more productive because they'll be healthier. If you have increase in minimum wages, people will be encouraged or motivated to work. If you have improved educational opportunities, people will be empowered to work. So the one that would have the least effect would be the increase in the cost of living. 42. Which of the following is not a reason for a government to develop the human resource potential of a country? And D would be supplementing the labor force of foreign countries. And if your business, that's the foreign country's business. All right. 43, and we're coming down to the end. Which of the following actions may be taken by an employer against workers during an industrial strike? And we did have the lockout as the answer before. Which of the following conditions does not contribute to the unemployment? And we have A, increase in exports. We have seen this already. 45, which of the most appropriate order of tasks for a job seeker? Okay, and we have C here, which would be write applications for the desired jobs. Then 2, collect information about available job. Hold on, let's look at this. You need to collect the information. Where are we now? Which is the most appropriate order of tasks for a job seeker? All right, I would say now you collect information first, which would be 2. Then you assess your qualification and experience for the job, after which then you would write application for the desired jobs. So that would make it 2, 1, 3. All right, and that would be B. 46, based on the diagram we're looking at, the pie chart. Which of the following statements is not true according to the information provided in the chart? And it would be B, tourism, bauxite, and manufacturing combined earn more than petroleum. So tourism, manufacturing, and tourism, bauxite, and manufacturing together earn more than petroleum. Where's petroleum? That answer would be correct. Let's look at them individually. The mining sector earns more than the manufacturing sector. The mining sector, yeah, bauxite, petroleum. The mining sector earns more than the manufacturing sector. Oh, all right. That could be correct. Tourism, bauxite, and manufacturing combined earn more than petroleum. Tourism, bauxite, yes, that is true. So that's not the answer we're looking for. Bauxite and tourism earn less. Bauxite and tourism earn less than petroleum, agriculture, fisheries, and forestry. Bauxite and tourism, that's true also. Tourism and petroleum earn less than agriculture, fisheries, and manufacturing. Tourism and petroleum earn less than agri, Where's agri? That's not true. No, they look about equal. So I'm leaning towards D, and the mining sector earns more than. If you're going to put petroleum and bauxite together as the mining sector, that would be true. So the A is out. That is out. So the answer would be D. I need to look at that again. My brain getting a little cloudy now. Look at D for the time being. Which of the following statement is true about marine life in the Caribbean? A, it is a renewable resource. 48. Bye-bye, Mommy. Bye-bye, sweetie. Where are you going? High five. All right. Okay. Most Caribbean countries remain producers of primary products, mainly because they lack the means to process their resources, and we would have seen that already here. 49, which of the following methods of fishing is most damaging to the ecosystem? And we have B, the use of dynamite. 50, and our final question, renewable physical resources may provide energy in the Caribbean for years to come. One example of a renewable physical resource is wood. Coal is not a renewable resource, neither is petroleum or natural gas. So the answer would be wood. All right, it has been a task, but not a one we could dent. All right, thanks very much. Next time I invite you to join me so we can have some live interaction. For future reference, you can always watch the YouTube video, make your comments, ask your questions, and of course we'll be meeting like this again, but it's a time that is more convenient for all of us so that we can meet together. Have a wonderful afternoon. Have a wonderful weekend. Please remember you have some questions to respond to in the WhatsApp group, and to write your answers on blank paper or ruled paper as we did at school. Number them according to how they're numbered on the question paper, head them up as to which paper you're referring to, whether it's 2019, etc., and send them to me in WhatsApp so I can grade. All right, take care. Have a great day. Ready?